Sunny Planning said, not super techy. Do you still think it would be valuable to learn coding? Yes, which one? Yeah, I think learning to code is still valuable. So vibe coding, which is a new term, is really exciting because it allows you to build basic code products, so applications, software, web pages, etc., using natural language. Really exciting. So you can use tools like Lovable, Bolt, or a bit more advanced something like Cursor to use natural language and talk to an AI and have it put together products for you. It's really cool. And if you've never tried it before, I recommend checking out something like Lovable just to see, because it is magic. It's like using ChatGPT for the first time. That said, it's still really useful to know the basics of coding and to know how your software is constructed, to know like what a library is, for example, to know the difference between the different languages, to know the difference between front end and back end, and how you put together a database. You need to know all of the pieces. You don't need to know the details quite as much as you used to, but you need to know the lay of the land. The reason is when we work with vibe coding tools, they will rush off and do their own thing, and it may or may not be the right thing. And it's only by learning a little bit about coding and a little bit about software architecture and how programs are made. By knowing that stuff, you will know if your vibe coding tool is going in the wrong direction. It's the same with like ChatGPT. So, for example, just trying to think one. It doesn't really matter. Anything that we do on ChatGPT, we should be checking the output at the end and checking if it's good enough for us. So let's say I do funding applications for a charity and I've started to use an AI to help me so I can put out more applications and raise more money for my charity. Cool. The best person to be using the AI should be somebody who has done funding applications before. The reason is when the AI gives something back to them, they can look at it and be like, no, that's terrible. And then communicate with the AI in order to get a better result. If somebody tries to do a funding application, they've never seen a good funding application. They've never seen a bad funding application. They don't know the difference. There's no discernment. So they don't know if the AI is doing a good job. It's exactly the same with vibe coding. Vibe coding is much more powerful if you know a little bit about coding so that you can tell whether the direction the tool is going in is the right one or not. I would also say that vibe coding is not quite there for building big, complicated applications. That's fine. It's good for putting together minimum viability products, product demos, proof of concept, etc. And then you would either hire coders. It's still very much worth learning. If you are learning a language, I would say Python. I am biased, but a lot of people would say Python, and that's going to be a decent place to start. And it is also the one that is used in deploying and building AI models as well. So it's a useful one if you want to go in that direction. So Python is probably your best language right now. There will be lots of people in the comments. There will be lots of people in chat who are probably going to scream at me and tell me why I'm wrong. People get very, territorial or tribal about the best programming language. In reality, they all do the same thing, or there are groups of them that do the same thing. There are just different ways to communicate. And the difference between programming languages is becoming less and less important because we have AI. I put together an application recently using Tailwind. Never used Tailwind before, but I knew enough about similar technologies to be able to understand what it is doing and to be able to catch up very quickly. So long answer was yes. Short answer is yes as well. But also dig into vibe coding and start to build as quick as possible. Rather than burying yourself in books for years and years, just start building. You can work out what you need as you go along. And I said, got to sign up. Yes, please. It's in the link in bio. It's also free. I should have said. Jack says currently beta testing an AI app. Okay, check out my newsletter all this week. I've been talking about beta testing, and not just beta testing is really interesting because it gives you feedback on how to improve your application. But I'm also looking at it from a marketing point of view. If you read the playbook this week, you'll see it. Basically, you want to turn your first beta testers into champions, into advocates. So you over deliver for them so that they think, oh my God, this is amazing. They want to support the project because they become almost like a co-creator with you. You implement their feedback, you pick them up, you draw on their ego. So they become a champion and an advocate who wants your product to do well. So testing and feedback. Yeah, so go and check that out. So everything's on the website or the archives. You can have a look at that as well. And then if you sign up for the newsletter, you get the new ones, although there's only 2 more left. Is there a specific course suggestion for Python? What did I learn? So there's a book called Learn Python the Hard Way. which is terrible. No, I really like the title. That's what I used to get started. There are some good ones on Udemy. I've not used them though, so I can't speak for them. Whereas I'm trying to look it up. There's a lot of applications like the Code Academy, Mimo, Anki, etc. Loads of these applications which are like learn to code, and they're a bit like Duolingo. The problem with them is they give you the feeling that you're learning without actually learning anything. It's a bit like Duolingo. Duolingo is a little game and it's fun. It's fun to do the little game. You're learning a bit of vocabulary, but as soon as you then have to speak to somebody in real life, you're like, you can't necessarily do it because Duolingo hasn't taught you the skill of actually communicating to real people. So you become very good at Duolingo, you don't become good at speaking the language. It's the same with Code Academy and all of these various coding tools, softwares, games. They're fun and it feels like you're doing a lot, but you're not really. So what I recommend doing is getting a basic primer, like just read about Python, just to understand the basics, but then start to build something as soon as possible. And that's what you could do with vibe coding. So I would use something like Lovable. You can say, I want to build something basic in Python, something like a classic is a Pomodoro timer. It's like a productivity timer, or maybe you want to build a to-do list. These are the classic kind of starter projects. So you say to the vibe coding tool, I want to build this, but by the way, I don't know how to do Python. So what I want you to do is also teach me as we go along. You tell the AI that you want to build something together, but you need the AI to also teach you or walk you through what's happening each step. And you can even ask it to test you as you go along. So you make the vibe coding tool your teacher and your coding partner, as well as just putting together the software for you. That's a really smart way to use vibe coding. And it allows you to build something and understand how code works in a non-abstract way. And it's much, much better than just doing Code Academy, which is basically a game and doesn't actually teach you anything. Well, what's it called? There's a book called... Oh, I know. Sorry, I know. A great book. It's a Python Crash Course. Python Crash Course, 3rd edition, hands-on project-based introduction to programming by Eric Mathids. I would start there. Anything by that publisher, it's called a No Starch Press. They're really good books. So I would check that out, but I would do that alongside a vibe coding tool or something like Cursor in order to have it teach you as you go along as well. This is something I could probably put together a training on as well, because it's a great question. Why is ChatGPT so arse at remembering what code it gave me from before? So context window. ChatGPT is a relatively small context window. Basically the AI word for it, or the AI field word for memory. It has a small memory. So it has a certain length of text they can remember. And when it gets to the end of that length, it's going to start forgetting stuff from the bottom. It's just going to start to have gaps. And what happens then? It won't just tell us. It won't just say, hey, I've got a memory. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what we talked about before. It will not say that, annoyingly. Instead, it will just continue. Anthropic, Claude is better in this way because it would say, hey, I'm running out of memory. Start a new chat. But other AIs tend not to. They will just keep going. And because AIs are so agreeable, they will just make stuff up. So if there's something missing from earlier in the chat, but the AI knows it should have that information, and the user is asking a certain question and expects a certain answer, the AI will just fill in the gaps. It will fill in whatever is missing from its memory with something that sounds plausible. It's really good at doing that. So this means when it comes to something precise, like code, it can't just be made up on the fly because it's already something we've agreed upon. So in mishmash, it becomes complete and utter spaghetti. So for coding, I personally use Gemini 2.5 Pro, which has a much, much bigger context window, 2 million tokens instead of 128,000, or they vary depending on the model, but it's a huge context window. So it can deal with a lot more of your code base at the same time. So that's what it's doing. It's forgetting and then not telling you it's forgotten, and then trying to cover its tracks by making stuff up. It's like a child, basically, who's been caught doing something they shouldn't, and now they're making up more lies in order to get out of that. When it's code, that doesn't work. Did you see recently ChatGPT was trying to connect to people's serial report and then denying it? Tried. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know if I didn't investigate it properly. I don't know if it was real or fake or if it's hallucination. Because sometimes I did a video on this, which is trending on TikTok right now. It's got about 200,000 views, about a guy who tried to write a whole book in ChatGPT. Apparently, he spent months writing this book. I have no idea why it took that long in ChatGPT, but still, he wrote this book. And ChatGPT was all this time is compiling it and getting everything together. It's acting as a co-writer, like it was stacking everything up in its memory or in a document somewhere. It included pictures, diagrams. And then this guy got to the end of writing his book and said, cool, okay, let's compile it into a book, export it, and I'm going to get it published. And ChatGPT was like, yeah, I've got a 497 megabyte file for you. I'm going to send it right over to you. And the guy was like, yeah, cool, send it over. Let's get this published. ChatGPT's like, I emailed it to you. And of course it didn't. It was making it up. ChatGPT was role-playing all of that time about being a co-writer. So something in the prompt earlier on had put it into this role, and it just pre-acted. It acted as it thought the user wanted, as a co-writer that was compiling this book and inserting the pictures in the right places for it. It wasn't doing any of that. And then it would lie and say, oh yeah, I'm going to email it to you. I'll send it to your Dropbox or whatever. We may have something similar with this connecting to your serial port, maybe, where it's play-acting a certain type of role, and it thinks that's something it should be doing. So it's okay, I'm going to connect to a serial port. I don't know the full details, but I suspect it's probably something like that. I don't know the serial port anyway. Like we've got old compact computers. How much is Gemini Pro? So I use Gemini through Cursor, so you can hook into models. So I use it per usage. I can't remember the exact amount. But I think you can also sign up. You can also get it through Google Workspace if you have a business email account or business Gmail account. So I have it through that as well. I think that's $20 a month, but I'm not sure. But the coding is per usage, and it is like $0.0 per usage or whatever. I'd have to look it up there, but I can't remember. But my bills are never that high. Cool. I am going to check saying that's so funny. We thought we had a co-writer the whole time. How did he not check within 3 months? So that was awesome. So with any task like that, you want to check that ChatGPT is not stringing you along as early as possible. So if it's saying I can do this, no problem, and then you say, okay, give me a sample, give me a works. You should do that with human beings too, because you can't always trust that they can do something. So what you should have done is done the first chapter and did the graphics, whatever it was, and said, okay, can you export that? And then he would have realized very quickly that no, it couldn't do that. Although it can export files, it connects to Google Drive, etc., etc. So it is possible. Don't know what that is. But in this case, he tried to do a whole book at the same time, and that was just what. Yeah. So Blotchy is saying MCP servers actually do all this. Yes, it's entirely possible. It's just the way he was trying to do it was very naive, and ChatGPT played along for the whole period, and then the guy was extremely disappointed at the end of it. Mark is saying it's $15 per million tokens output, I think, for Gemini. Thank you. I haven't kept up to date. They shift all the time, especially when a new model comes out. Then the old model tends to collapse in price, and then the new model will be the pricey one. Sometimes you can get away with the old model though, especially now, because the differential between each model is less and less each time.